Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so word on the street is the New Orleans Pelicans want Scoot Henderson. Now, I don't know how exactly they're going to pull that off because Scoot Henderson is going to be a rookie this upcoming season. He's going to be attached to either the second or third overall pick because, of course, we know Wembanyama is going to be the first. So, this is one of those situations where I've been trying to rack my brain on how best to navigate a trade like that if I were on either team. Because if it's Portland, you know for a fact Portland wants players that are going to help Dame win now. If they're willing to trade that second overall pick, they're not trading it for future picks. And if you're New Orleans, you probably are willing to trade players to the Portland Trail Blazers. No problem. But how do you make those salaries match without ultimately taking back more than you should? And we had a conversation about a week ago where we were saying that it should be easy for, say, a first overall pick to be traded for a max contract because that's the equivalent of what they would be worth to the teams that are making the trades. Now, obviously, salaries have to be matched or otherwise you can mess up the market just like they did with the Rudy Gobert Minnesota trade that, you know, having him go to Minnesota for like 3 times what he was worth, 4 times what he's worth, really just locked the market all the way up. So you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're a cause of that again for any reason, especially with the new collective bargaining agreements going this way. But for me, it just seems to me that they should have it so that there is some type of process to where that could be possible. Because at the end of the day, as we said, if for some reason I want to trade Zion Williamson for Scoot Henderson, well, Portland should want Zion's contract, and New Orleans should want Scoot Henderson's pick. Maybe Portland doesn't see the fit in having Scoot Henderson's pick, and maybe New Orleans could see the fruit in letting go of Zion. So both of these teams are willing to make the trade. The only thing in the way is the NBA's circumstances. So shouldn't there be something in the place to kind of lock those two in to allow for those things to swap since they hold the same value to both sides? I think that should be something they study and figure out, because in a situation like this, the trade to me appears to be a bit undoable, even if two teams were agreeable because of the salary necessary matching. So I look at this situation and I say, Anthony Simons is the contract that's likely going to be headed to New Orleans or to a third spot if they want to try to swap those players and picks. It's because Simons is on a $100 million contract that he just signed last year, if I'm not mistaken. And that should do it in regards to sending out something that I think New Orleans would ultimately like in this situation. I'm trying to figure out how that works, because it's more so about matching salary, because you know you're going to have to send something out that's going to be of value in order to make it match Scoot Henderson. You see what I'm saying? The Scoot Henderson is going to be worth a certain amount. So you're going to take back the players that are going to be worth $100 million. You see what I'm saying? So in order for the salary swaps to match, you would have to likely send out $100 million worth of players yourself, which makes it so that Simons is attached. That's what I'm trying to overall convey to you guys. If you can put yourself in a strong position to have both teams agree while simultaneously having this lopsided type of thing going on where the team that's receiving Scoot Henderson can somehow make that value match to help Portland in their win now situation, then maybe that works. But I don't know how Portland finds themselves getting what they want if they're ultimately sending out pieces that help them win. Like a guy like Simons is a guy you just signed to a 4-year deal. You want to keep him. He can help you win, you'd think. But in trying to send Scoot out, you have to also let go of him. To get back what exactly? What is going to make you happy in this situation if you're Portland? Which is why I don't think they do a deal with New Orleans. Maybe, maybe you want to do BI. You bring BI to Dame. You still need to try to find ways to match salary, so you add a couple extra pieces. But I look at it like this. If I'm sending Scoot out, I don't want to give up anything, really. I want you giving me back all kinds of stuff I want, and you just take that pick and that's it. I don't want to, because the way I see it is, even though it might be salary relief, and I might see that as a plus, getting rid of Simons, he shouldn't be in this trade. He should be in a different trade that helps me even more so. I don't want to give up nothing if I'm giving up Scoot, if I'm Portland. I'm just saying Portland, assuming that Portland would be the team that you would have the most trouble doing it with. Charlotte, if they trade Scoot, they're more likely to take back futures. Won't be as much a problem in my humble opinion. I think Mike would more than likely, if he's sending out Scoot, he's probably not going to see himself involved in this draft too much early on. He's not going to trade it for like the 7th overall pick or nothing like that. That's not how that's going to go. I see him trading that for futures. Or, even better, he'll trade that and attach salary he doesn't want to make it so that you want it. So I guess that's the same thing Portland would do. But you would have to tell yourself that you don't want Anthony Simons. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, Charlotte would likely want you to take back Gordon Hayward or the other point guard that they got down there whose name escapes me at the moment, but he's also on an absorbent contract, like $30 million a year. Ain't really living up to that at all, but he's just sitting on Mike's books for no reasons. That's something that you're going to have to take from me if you want that number 2 overall pick. And then you're going to be sending me back what exactly? Something to match the salary. So it's like, it only works if you send it to if you can get a third team involved and they can kind of make it all make sense by putting in assets that both are futures and nows, basically. It's the only way I see it working with either of these things. Because at the end of the day, if I'm sending Scoot out, I ain't trying to match no kind of salary for nothing if I'm either of these teams. If I'm Charlotte or if I'm Portland, I'm not doing it. Now, again, if you're willing to take some salary relief, I'd be willing to take it from you, but it has to actually equate to being salary relief. I can't be swapping a $100 million contract for another $100 million contract. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you don't have a pick, I guess I have to rescind what I already said about it being easy to do if you have picks. Only if you're willing to trade futures and they're willing to take them. But as far as you trying to get back players, salary matches and all that, I don't see a path to a good trade there. Now, if somebody agrees on a bad trade, so be it. But I don't see a path to a good trade there. I don't know how you do that without having a high overall pick. Now, if you want to, like say Charlotte wants to swap with Portland, they do it like that, which doesn't make any sense in this situation. But if like that's the only way I would be willing to do it. I swap 2 and 3, and then you give me a future second, and that's it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, or 2 future seconds, whatever would make that make sense. But as far as me like saying, okay, I want BI, and I give you Scoot, I just don't know how the hell you make that happen. I don't know how the hell you make that happen. So I would have to throw in Anthony Simons, and then you have to convince yourself that that's what you want. You're going to be taking back 2 point guards. You're going to get Scoot, and you're taking about $100 million Anthony Simons. Now, maybe you can flip Anthony Simons once again. You know what I'm saying? This is a situation where I just don't think New Orleans is going to get it. I don't see how they're going to have that path to getting Scoot Henderson. And furthermore, I'm wondering if they are really the best spot for Scoot. And you consider how things have gone there. Ain't nobody really done anything there. Ever. They got Zion, never panned out. AD, that they never got nothing off the ground with AD. They got B.I. and Zion. Ain't nothing happening there. They got B.I., Zion, and Jones and all these players. They still ain't getting off the ground as a franchise. I don't know that Scoot Henderson is going to have any more success than those guys did. He's just another great player that's just going to go to New Orleans and not get nothing done. That's where I'm at with New Orleans at this point. I don't know that you're not the problem, New Orleans. Not the city, obviously, but just the way they do things. I like Willie Green, but I'm not sure that's not the problem. Everybody that goes there is really, really good, and you really, really don't do nothing. And you can blame it on Zion. That may be enough. That may be the reason. Zion's not there, period. That's 26 points, 10 rebounds, not available. But the team is so damn good without Zion on paper. It still doesn't. They can't even get into the play-in tournament. Or whether they got in the playoffs and it was out. Did they even get in the play-in tournament? I don't even remember where they finished, but I don't remember them even being in the first round. If they were in the first round, they didn't get far. So that's how it goes. It's just like New Orleans is going to have to In my humble opinion, you trade Zion. You trade Zion. And if I'm Portland, do I think that Zion is going to help Dame win a championship? I don't trust Zion to be on the floor at all. So why do I think he's going to be able to help Dame win a championship? That's why I said B.I. in the first place, because I wouldn't even consider taking on Zion if I'm Portland. Hell nah. We trying to make Dame happy. That's the whole point of getting rid of this generational talent Scoot. If you happen to get him, that's the point. You're trying to mortgage everything for Dame. So Zion is the absolute worst piece for that. He ain't reliable at all. So that's what that is for me. Can I be honest with everybody? I'm just really glad I'm not a Portland fan. That's what it really comes down to. I'm just glad I'm not a Portland fan, because there's no way in hell I want you to trade this pick if I'm Portland. No way in hell. Not with the history that y'all had for the last 30 years. There's no way in hell I'm giving away either Miller or Scoot Henderson for no reason. Especially not for Dame eating up more than half the damn cap. Y'all know how I feel about that. I've been very open about how I feel about Dame eating up all that damn cap. I think it's awful. But nevertheless, he's doing it for a good reason. I always make sure I tell you guys that I received his reason as a good reason. Got 2 babies, young ones. He's going to give them generational wealth. It's a beautiful thing. I ain't never going to be mad at nobody doing for their kids. But at the end of the day, taking too much, Dame, and you know I feel that way. You're taking too much, bro. And because of it, I'm not willing to do nothing but relieve myself of that salary. And that's what Portland needs to do. You trade Dame, you keep Scoot. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. And if New Orleans want Dame, they can take Dame and you give me B.I. Give me back CJ and I'll give you Dame. You know what I'm saying? Or if y'all want to swing for the fences on your future, even though this doesn't make any sense at all, maybe you just bring Zion in just because you ain't got no sense, you stupid. But that's the only reason why you do that. You know what I'm saying? But other than, you don't trade for Zion if you're Portland. You're taking back B.I. and you're probably going to take back CJ, even though I don't. Look, CJ's a lifetime Portland Trailblazers, but I just don't know if he's going to be the answer for what they're trying to do. Maybe they just go in a different direction. Bring in B.I. and then another different player that's not CJ. Because it didn't work. CJ and Dame never worked. Why would you go back and get that again? That going again. I wouldn't. So that's what I feel, man. This Dame Lillard, this build around Dame thing, you guys know I broke down why I thought that was happening years ago. It's because Dame helped them through some difficult times. When they didn't have the ability to build properly around Dame, he stuck with them. He kept their franchise afloat while they were too busy over the luxury tax, I guess you could say, to even really build a good team around him. They just kind of they paid him handsomely, and he masked those problems by keeping them a good enough team to where they didn't hit the floor as bad as you would have, and they would have, being a small market team in the trouble that they were in. So at this point, if the tea leaves have told me the truth, they feel obligated to make that right. That's what I surmised was going on with the Portland Trailblazers about 2 years ago when I found out how bad of a hole they had just pulled themselves out of. And then when I saw how they were re-signing his center, signing Anthony Simons, I was like, yeah, they're trying to keep a contender around him. Not to the betterment of themselves, but because they feel like they owe him for keeping them afloat in his prime years, which is righteous. And as a result, they paid him way more than he's worth at this stage in his career with respects to what he's done. They paid him way more than he's worth, and they're trying to continue to build around him, even though it's not to the betterment of their circumstance. I'm just telling you, man. I'm telling you, I know what they're doing. I know what it is. Even though I don't know nobody over there, it's tea leaves told me everything I needed to know. And now it's one of them situations where it's like they're trying to make good on that, and that's honorable. Except for one thing. The fans are in the balance, and the team ain't going to be that good. That's the only problem. You try to make this right with Dame, that's wonderful. You owe him that. Problem is, everybody going to suck because of that, including him. Your team's not going to be good. So he's going to have to let y'all let that go. And that's my point with Dame. It's like, bro, don't hold them to that. Because only the people who get the worst of it is the fans. You already paid. You already lived out your career and you're going to the Hall of Fame. Ain't nobody mad at you for doing what you did for Portland. That's love. But you got to see that love through. You can't have them sucking on the back end because of what you sacrificed already, fam. Am I wrong for that? For thinking that? Just because you went all in and gave them so much, and they didn't have enough to give you in your prime does not mean on the back end of your career you ask them to build around you when you know damn well that's not what's best for that franchise. You know damn well that ain't what's best for that franchise. Ain't nobody else gonna say that but me. Dame Lillard knows that's not what's best for Portland. And that's why he's flirting with all these different teams, because deep down I think he's already figured that out, man. So it's not even about whether or not Dame can win a championship with Portland or not. It's just about, is Dame love Portland enough to make sure they build properly? Or is he going to let them hit the floor trying to make good on something like this? And so that's what I have to say about that. I love that Portland is being loyal to him, because they are a small market team, and he really did give them a more than a solid. He sacrificed his damn career. And he's old. He's old. So I don't want that to get lost in what I'm saying. But if they're not going to be able to build him a real contender, and they're about to give away Scoot damn Henderson to make this right, nah. At some point, Dame got to say, don't. Don't. Not for me, not for anybody else. Do not let Scoot leave your organization just to put some guys around me so I can have a hurrah. Nah, I can have a hurrah somewhere else. I can have a real hurrah somewhere else. Do not give away probably arguably the best player you're ever going to have, not named Dame Lillard, not named Bill Walton. Like, he's going to be the next great Blazer, y'all. Now, if it's Miller, I'm not as high on Miller, to be honest with you. I'm not. If it's Miller, I think the fit's better for Dame, though. But you just got to wait on Miller. That's all. But I like Miller, and I think he's a clutch player. You're putting together two of the more clutch players in the league if this kid grows up properly. He's known for hitting last-second shots. So maybe Miller, drafting Miller, especially if Charlotte takes Scoot, then it removes this problem from you, Portland. You just don't have that in place anymore. But for me, it's like this Dame thing, man. Guys gotta just understand that sometimes when you loyal in the NBA, even if everybody's trying to agree, you're going to meet a day on the calendar where it's just not going to make sense. It's just not going to make sense because the landscape changes, the collective bargaining changes, all that stuff, the budget in regards to the salary cap changes. It's just not going to make as much sense, man. And so that's why projecting ahead, saying we're gonna make you right on the back end, trust me, we're going to make you whole. It's like, yeah, they may even see it through, but they ain't going to be better for it. And this is what you run into. Now you got Shaedon Sharpe's career starting off, and what they trying to do? Kill his timeline to make themselves older. So for Dame, and then Sharpe doesn't get a chance to grow with who? Scoot Henderson or Miller, or all these players are going to make your team better in the future because you want to hold on to Dame? Nah, man, stop this. I'm telling Portland, you stop this. Stop this because it's going to hurt you in the long run. You're going to lose Shaedon Sharpe. You're going to lose Dame Lillard. You're going to lose Anthony Simons. You're going to lose Grant. All these people are going to leave, and you're going to be left with your loyalty and empty seats. And so that's what I got to say to the Portland ownership, man. Like I said, this Dame situation, it's bittersweet because I truly believe in black wealth and generational wealth for black children. You know, you guys know I'm big on all of these things. But at some point in time, you got to understand this is just a pie. That's all it is. And you're taking a big piece of it. And if you do that, then you're not leaving enough for everybody else. And your team ain't no good. So it's like, it's even deeper than that now because they got to figure out whether they want to rebuild or not. And they don't want to rebuild even though they have a chance to get arguably one of the most important players the league is about to have over the next couple of years in Scoot Henderson. I mean, it's like, are you sure? Like, this guy should be the first overall pick most years. And you're going to trade him away? I don't think a team that passed on Kevin Durant, a team that passed on Michael Jordan, a team that had the situation go down with Brandon Roy, the situation go down with Greg Oden, heck, even the situation go down with Bill Walton. He wasn't healthy most of the damn time. Are you sure, Portland? So that's kind of where this conversation took me. I know we were supposed to be talking about New Orleans trading for Scoot Henderson. And Scoot is probably actually more likely to go to Charlotte, given the fact they have the second overall pick and he's the second best player in this draft. But I don't think Charlotte sees it that way. Judging from what I'm reading, they're probably going to go with Miller. And that will leave Portland Scoot. And I'm telling you, most, and I'm going to say most with the understanding that most teams want to rebuild, most teams are going to take Scoot Henderson right now over Dame Lillard. Most. Because it's a young man's league. And that's one of the best young players coming into the game. He could be anywhere in the world, Portland. But it looks like you got a good chance at landing this kid. And I'm telling you, Dame is the man. Dame has been the man. He's going to do great things even after this. But ain't no way I'm going to give up on the possibility of having Scoot Henderson on a rookie contract just so I can trade and get Dame a star so they can kind of go up against Jokic maybe and probably lose to Jokic any damn way. Ain't no way. I'm sorry, ain't nothing about... Let me just tell the truth. Ain't nothing Portland about to build by doing this is going to make them better than the Nuggets right now. Nothing. Nothing at all. So that's what needs to be said, man. No matter what they build, in my humble opinion, it is not going to be able to beat Jokic in the way that he's playing right now. It's just not. And if what you're putting together can't beat Jokic, you probably shouldn't be doing nothing like that. So that's what I got to say about that. I don't know where New Orleans stands. They got a lot of talent. They bring Scoot Henderson to themselves. I'm pretty sure they'll feel a lot better, but I just don't have a lot of faith in them until I see them give me some reason to believe in them. Honestly, because I felt like they were one of the best teams in the league to start the season, and they fizzled out in such a forgettable way that I don't even know where they finished. So I'm just down on them as a franchise. I like all their players, but I'm down on CJ, and I'm down on that whole organization as it pertains to some of the stuff they're trying to do. Getting Scoot Henderson ain't the worst thing in the world, and if they pull it off, I'll probably like what I'm seeing, but I just don't know if I like him going there. I don't think so. I don't like him going there. So that's how I feel about that. But this is more about Portland for me. Charlotte, that's a whole nother conversation I'm not really interested in. To be honest with you, I think Charlotte's on their way to resetting properly, and they're a headache to me because I've been watching them draft poorly for so long, and now we're this close, and they're gonna do it again. And I'm just irritated by them. Hopefully they make the right decision and draft Scoot so I don't have to keep that irritation. But leading into the draft, I'm slightly irritated with them for putting Miller above Scoot when nobody else does. There's a reason. You trade down if you want to get Miller if you're Charlotte. You trade down. You trade with Portland and you get the second overall pick. So you can respect the obvious difference between those two players' value in this draft. Because you're leaving value on the table, Michael Jordan, when you pick Miller over Scoot, because Miller ain't worth as much as Scoot right now. It's a clear difference. Just like there's a clear difference between Wembanyama and Scoot, there's a clear difference between Miller and Scoot, and we got to respect it. Or you don't, and leave the value on the table. But I'm telling you, that's value. Whether you think he's better or not, it's value. So that's what I want to say, man. I've been watching a little more highlights of Scoot Henderson, and I have a lot more respect for what I've seen than I did since I last talked to y'all about Scoot Henderson. That dude's a problem. He's got basketball genius to him. He's got savvy angle creation type of stuff. Defensively, he's pretty good. Although he's not great defensively, his body's going to allow him to body up with people really well. He'll get better defensively. But he's awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. You can't teach the muscle that he has on his body. You ain't going to be able to sit in the gym for 24 hours and get as heavy or strong as him. It's not happening. He just has genetics that work in his favor like Westbrook. And you can't duplicate that. You cannot duplicate that. That is a Russell Westbrook-like athlete. And not letting him into your organization for any reason at all, I think is a big mistake. BDL44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.